Have you guys gone live on YouTube?
No.
No, I've only ever gone live on Instagram, and it's always weird.
Sarah, you should put the mic closer to your face.
Okay, can you hear? I said I've only ever gone live on Instagram before.
Yeah, I've gone before this. I had gone live on TikTok once and Instagram a couple times, and yeah, it was weird. It was just kind of a little bit awkward. I was just like, "Hey guys,
Sarah
I don't know what
gets
to do with
high.
my hands."
I remember once. Okay, so
the only time was I got stoned and I just joined someone else's live, someone else that we're gonna have on our podcast soon.
And I went on Instagram and I'm like, oh God, why is Sarah live somewhere? And I'm just watching her and she's talking about like Love is Blind or something. And I was like,
she's like, hey
high.
man.
She's so super stoned. Yeah.
What's up, you guys? Have you seen that? Is so funny because I actually talked about Love is Blind the other day. In an episode, we did an episode about how reality romance shows. Well, I mean, a lot of reality TV is like pretty fucked up. You guys, I'm trying to learn how to not swear in the first 4 minutes, and it's
oh yeah, I guess that's a YouTube thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not monetized yet, but I, hopefully will be one day. So I'm trying to remember to not swear, and you're supposed to get 4 minutes in, and I don't. Maybe I've been successful once, but
I don't think we've ever been.
It's rough.
Did you? I'm sure I did too.
You guys, this is Alicia. She is one of our regulars.
Hi.
Hi, Alicia.
I can't imagine joining a live stone. Hey, yeah, I mean,
it did not sound super articulate, but it was really fun to do an analysis of how heteronormative Love is Blind is with like a queer therapist.
Yeah.
You know what?
While stoned.
Yeah, well stoned.
Actually, all reality TV is very heteronormative. Even if you think about like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, it's pretty interesting.
What about like Real Housewives? I don't watch reality TV, but it's not because I think I'm better than that, because I watched a lot of really dumb shit, but I don't watch it, and I feel like, oh yeah, it would be very heteronormative.
Yeah, it definitely is. The Bachelor is like wowza.
I don't know. We got Colton and Underwood out of that one. He's very happily engaged now, I think.
Funnily enough, his season was one of the only ones I've ever watched of The Bachelor.
But he's also gay, and he was, like he was like living a lie at the time, which couldn't have been fun for him.
Yeah.
So,
Sarah, can you?
Sorry to rain on your parade, you guys. No, I used to love reality romance TV, and then and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm not gonna say that I'm never gonna watch it again, but I after hearing what goes on behind the scenes, like what the producers, kind of strings they pull to get the storyline that they want to happen happens, is like pretty intense. And they use cult tactics like keeping people awake for a long time, food deprivation, isolation. It's
lots of
crazy.
alcohol.
Oh yeah,
so much booze.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Love is Blind. I was told that they're in these little apartments by themselves, and then they have a fridge and shit, but it's not stocked with just whatever snacks they might want. And they're like doing social media work and shit all day long. It sounded terrible.
Yeah,
I've never watched it. I have no idea. I cannot comment. Sarah, what do you think?
Oh, with Love is Blind, I just think the whole concept of like, then the guy has to propose. They've never seen each other before. Like, and it's trying to be profound. They're like, love is not, it's skin deep. Like, it's so deep. But I'm like, you can't deeply know someone after like 5 little conversations through a wall. Sorry. But like most of those relationships are going to implode. And if they don't, it's sheer luck.
It actually parallels very well with purity culture, where it's like you don't even get to touch the person before you're married, and how
you get to see them though.
Yeah, that's true. At least you get to actually see
them. You might get like
a side hug.
Might get a little handhold action.
Oh, I don't know. That
Maybe.
Yeah,
hand-holding
no,
leads
Josh
to
Harris
sex.
was okay with
Okay.
that.
Okay, whoa, settle down, Ashley. You're coming in fucking hot. All right. So I was waiting for people to tune in, but I know that it is a random Tuesday afternoon. So I say let's get into it. Huh?
Yeah.
Huh, gals?
So are we like people are watching us right now?
Yeah, so right now
Yeah.
we have 2 viewers.
Oh my
Alicia's
gosh.
here.
Hi.
Alicia's
Hello.
awesome.
Love
And
it.
I don't know who the other person is unless they comment. So, hi.
Hi.
And hi to everybody who is watching on the replay because probably, I don't know, probably a good like 70 people will watch it, you guys. Maybe more.
Love it.
It's we're popping off over here. So, can you please introduce to our giant audience who you are and what your show is, what it's about?
Do you want me to go first, Sarah?
Yeah,
Or-
because I always mess up
Oh
the
yeah. So
Instagram.
it's kind of like this notorious thing that Sarah messes up the intro every time we do the podcast. But so our podcast, my name is Jessica and this is Sarah. And
Hi,
we have
Jessica.
and we have a
Sorry,
pod.
I was in AA for a long time. It's instinct. Okay.
I'm gonna share with the group now. Yeah, we have a podcast called You Can't Get to Heaven in a Miniskirt. And it is a kind of a Christian deconstruction podcast where we talk about our trauma. We talk about purity culture. We talk about the power structures within Christianity that we experienced and maybe that other people are experiencing today. Anything else, Sarah?
We'll get into some theological issues, historical Christianity. We delve into a lot of random topics. And sometimes we're like, okay, a whole episode on like speaking in tongues and the neuroscience behind that. And then like other times it'll be like we're talking about like witches and witch hunts. And so we're kind of all over the map, but purity culture is definitely a huge focus. And we both kind of grew up in that like we're childhood best friends. I brought Jessica into the Baptist church, into the Evangelical church. She was kind of like her family was sort of like half-ass Catholic.
Half-ass Catholic.
Okay, sorry, Joan, if you're watching.
I'm sorry. Were you going to mass on Sundays and like?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
So
you
I mean,
were?
I call it like
Okay.
Catholic light though, because it's like
Yeah.
because we went to church because my grandparents went to church. Like it was just kind of like the thing that you do. I have been confirmed into the Catholic Church, but we weren't like the thing about Catholics, especially the flavor of Catholicism that I went through. Like you go to church on Sunday and then you don't carry that over to the rest of your week. It's a big difference between Catholics and Protestants that way. If I'm Protestants, it's like you live and breathe the Bible. Catholics, you're like, we live and breathe over there. And then on Sunday we come and they read the Bible to us and maybe we confess our sins. My church didn't even do that. And then you go on with your day. But
Yeah.
that's again, that varies church to church. This is just specifically like Eastern Canada, like Catholicism.
Dude,
and
I
kind of
just
your brand with your family. Like
Yeah. So then Sarah, we met when we were 12. So we've been friends for 21 years, which is crazy. And so she brought me into the church when we were like 14, 15. Kind of
yeah, and
started.
then started off with kind of youth group, and then we both worked at the same Baptist Christian camp. I was kind of a go to church six days a week kind of gal throughout my teen years, and then
Woo!
I hopped from the Baptist church into Charismatic church. So speaking in tongues, people trying to perform miracles, that kind of thing.
So that's where like really Sarah's like culty church experience came. I attended that church. I saw some shit, but Sarah like dove so hard head first into that church for a couple years. And that's where most of your crazy stories come from.
Yeah, because I actually took a year off after high school and I worked in a church in the UK for a year, and oof, they told me I couldn't leave. They told me I couldn't go home.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, it was.
Okay, see, okay. I have so much to say already. So thank you. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is That's So Fucked Up live today. We are here, if you're just tuning in, with Sarah and Jessica from You Can't Get to Heaven in a Miniskirt, a podcast about their experiences in evangelicalism. So, okay, I thought that I was getting this shit, all right, because it's actually pretty crazy. I think that a lot of the people in the true crime world have their like case that got them into true crime, and they can remember what case it was and how old they were and blah blah blah. And I've never really known what that was for me. It was more just like a progression of, I mean, like I was a Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark kid,
Yes,
you know.
same.
And then when I got a little bit older towards my tweens, I was like up in the young adult section, and they have some really scary shit about serial killers and stuff for teenagers to read. Listen, I don't know. Maybe I'm more biblical than I think. I'm like, burn them, okay? Ban them, burn them. No, they were great. But
Corrupting our youth.
there was a very scary book I remember reading about a serial killer. I'm like, I don't know how appropriate that was for an 11-year-old. But hey, here we are today. But I'm sure you're familiar with the documentary
Shiny Happy
Jesus
People.
Camp.
Oh, no, Jesus Camp. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
No, I know. I've seen Shiny Happy People. It's amazing. It actually changed my life because Jesus Camp planted a seed in 2006. You guys, I saw that shit in 2006 when I was 19, and I was like, what the fuck is that?
Mhm.
And then I like moved on with my day because I was 19. And then I think, I don't know if you guys ever saw the documentary The Imposter, but it's really good. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's about a kid that goes missing, and then he shows back up and craziness
Oh, I've heard of it.
ensues.
Okay.
So I don't want to give any spoilers, but oh my gosh, so good. So it was kind of more like, I've always loved documentaries. So it was more documentaries that got me into just the kind of like, what the fuck is like con artists and religion, where the kids are crying and they're telling them that a third of the kids that would have been their friends can't be there that night because they're fucking dead. And then Shiny Happy People came out, and then I connected some dots. No, sorry. Okay. So I saw Jesus Camp in 2006, and then I watched it again this year. And I was like, I was freaking out. I felt like I was in Back to the Future. I was like, I'm sorry, did our abortion rights not just get taken away? And that's what they were going for at the camp.
Mhm.
Oh, I remember getting handed out plastic fetuses as a child. Like at
That's
church.
cute.
I had this memory come up this week. We've never talked about that just yet.
Every time I talk to Sarah, I hear something new.
It had like different sizes depending on like how old it was, and we all got to keep a fetus.
Other girls had like baby dolls, and you had
I'm just going around with a little palm-sized fetus.
there's like an umbilical cord hanging from it.
Oh my God, Sarah.
So traumatizing.
Jesus.
Very traumatizing.
It's interesting because, you know, I have some trauma of my own, and as I'm working through it, I come upon realizations. And I remember thinking when I was a kid that I wish that I could go to Catholic church because I thought confession was so cool. And now I'm thinking back, and I'm like, that is so sad that I had like all of this guilt as a child because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
You just wanted someone to listen to your problems, honestly.
That's what therapy is.
I did. I wanted a therapist when I was a kid. I just was like, I think that sounds like it.
I didn't do therapy in the 90s and 2000s, though. It wasn't mainstream.
No. And not for children.
No.
So gals, we have 7 people here now.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
What?
So much. There's a lot of pressure.
Right?
yeah.
Whoa.
I'm excited. It's exciting.
Get ready, you guys. So I want to say hi to Brian. He comes a
Hello.
lot. He comes to the chats a lot. He's awesome.
Seems a lot.
He's a poet.
Hi,
I love
Brian.
that.
Yep, Brian's a poet, and he knows it. Alicia was raised Catholic and definitely was only on Sundays or what's a CCD class?
Catechism, like Sunday school,
Catholic
I think.
confirmation.
Sarah probably knows. I
I
don't know, but I probably did it. Whatever it is, I don't know any acronyms. Maybe Alicia
It sounds like a hoot, regardless. Barb said, I was closer to getting into heaven when I looked good in a mini skirt. Get out of here, Barb. Hey, we all have mini skirt bodies, okay? Pup groomer, hi.
Hey.
Barb
Documentaries are big.
Barb.
Well, it's funny. That's how actually we ended up starting the podcast. Was
The
Sarah,
Hillsong documentary.
the Hillsong documentary. I don't know if you've watched it. It's on Discovery Plus. Oh, I think you have.
So
Have you
Jessica
watched-
had like.
Have you watched I'm so sorry. Have you watched The Righteous Gemstones?
No.
So I started the Righteous Gemstones, but it hits too close to. I cannot handle
Okay.
doing the podcast and my entertainment being Christian related, even though
No.
it's satirical. I'm like, ah.
Fair enough. I mean, I've never been behind the scenes of a mega church, but I get the vibe that it's pretty spot on. But I don't know if you noticed that Adam Devine, is that the actor's name?
He looks like Carl Lentz. That's who he kind of. Yeah. That's 100% who he's playing.
Oh my God, when I realized that, I was fucking dying.
Yes.
I
love it. I was trying. Me and my husband watched the first episode, and I was explaining the whole thing to him before I decided I actually can't watch this. But I was like, this guy looks like this guy, and this guy is like this guy. And my husband's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because he didn't grow up in the crazy world that I did.
Sarah, you probably don't want to watch it either because that's a lot of Christianity in your life. But if you want to look up just like Carl Lentz and the at any point, and the Adam Devine playing the Righteous, I don't remember his character, but it's so funny. They both like have the same hair and like the same lame glasses,
like the ripped shirts, and like it's the same thing. So Sarah, so basically, in May of 2022,
yeah.
Sarah, I had just had a baby, and so Sarah came to visit me. We live on opposite sides of the country, so I'm in West Coast Canada,
and West Coast.
So basically like LA to New York, except Sarah lives in a smaller town.
No, it's like LA to Maine.
There, LA to Maine. That's better. Or Seattle to Maine, because I'm
Seattle
in
to
Vancouver.
Maine, yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, there we go.
So
I've been to Seattle. It's beautiful.
Oh, Vancouver is very similar.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so there you go.
Well, how about that? So you what the documentary started the podcast.
Yeah, we were watching the Hillsong documentary, and Sarah and I have obviously been friends forever, and we have never. Sure, we've talked about our Christian past, but until we watched the Hillsong documentary, we hadn't actually gotten into a long discussion about it. We were pausing it every 5 minutes to be like, "Oh my God, do you remember this? Oh my God, do you remember this?"
Bringing up like old memories, and your husband was so annoyed because he's like, "What the fuck?"
He's like, "You guys don't shut up." He just eventually stopped watching because he's like, "I don't care." Like, no, sure he cares, but he was also just like, "What kind of world did you grow up in?" Because I mean, he knew that I was religious at that age, but I got out of Christianity by the time I was 20. So he never knew those years, like me in those years. And so when we were telling our stories, he's like, "You guys are fucking nerds." Like, fucking losers. And so anyway,
I'm excited to hear your stories.
No, there's so many. So we finished watching the documentary, Sarah left, and we were like, we need to start a podcast because our stories are interesting. And so we did. We started it a few months later, and it's been going on for over a year.
And the title is a song that we used to sing at Bible camp. Quote unquote from the song. You can't get to heaven in a mini skirt because God don't want no little flirts.
Yeah.
And it is a jam.
Yeah. So we had somebody basically create our theme song, and they are the original Simfluencer on TikTok if you want to follow them. And they they created our song, and it's such a bop. Like, I love it.
Yeah, it's really fun. You guys should go subscribe to their podcast anywhere you listen to pods.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm hoping.
Even on YouTube now, we have our audio.
Yeah, we put our
Yes.
audio on YouTube, and it's okay. I gotta just say this story. This is the funniest thing. So, because we just added the audio to YouTube and I haven't really been promoting it, we don't have a lot of views, but we have an episode on masturbation, and it's just called Masturbation. And it has like 400 views in a week, and all of our other videos have like 20 views. And it's
You know what?
so good.
I realized that with YouTube, you really just got to make the title. You just have to make the titles catchy.
Mhm. Yeah.
Because
Agreed.
I don't think mine are really pulling people in.
Just start
that much.
calling them masturbation, and you'll do
Masturbation 1, masturbation 2.
Masturbation.
I'm like in the podcast naming mindset, where I realized with YouTube it has to be kind of like clickbaity. Like,
Mhm.
was it all a lie? And I'm like, was what a lie? You
Yes.
know? I don't even know, but I now I'm fucking curious. Like,
Yeah.
FOMO.
Was it? I don't know.
Was it? Tell me. Okay, so I just want to make a quick kind of announcement that I do talk about Christianity on the show a lot. I don't have anything against religion. I think that if that is what makes you happy and, gives you fulfillment and whatnot, then that's cool. I just don't like when people start getting abused in the name of God and the Bible and the religion, and like when things get secretive and weird, and that's when I'm not a fan. So
these are things that what you just said was
We agree.
perfectly said. We try to reiterate that quite a bit. To be like, your personal views are, first of all, none of my fucking business. I do not care. If you're not harming anyone, like, go do whatever you want to do. I do not care. But it's when
right.
the institution and the people that are in leadership are harming others. And that's where we have a problem, because Christianity, whether you like it or not, is an institution. And it's an institution with a lot of power structures that don't always go great.
And historically and currently does cause a lot of harm. Not saying that Christians themselves are inherently awful, because there are tons of amazing Christians out there that do lots of great things. We've had Christians come on our podcast, but yeah, we also don't shy away from calling out things that are just generally not good.
Yeah, I mean, I work with Catherine Spearing from her podcast is called Uncertain, and she's the founder of a nonprofit called oh my gosh, like it's fucking slipping my mind. Are you kidding me? Tears of Eden.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I have heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great organization. She actually helps provide a space and support for people who have survived evangelical abuse. And she's a really, really awesome resource just for anybody watching. But what was I going to say? So earlier you said you started off as Jessica, you said Sarah brought you into her Baptist church, right?
Yes. Yes.
And I'm watching Let Us Pray right now, which it's on Investigation Discovery and Max. Really big trigger warning to like literally anyone. It's pretty detailed accounts of sexual abuse. It's really fucked up, really sad. But that's going on within the IFB, Independent Fundamentalist Baptists,
Yeah.
for anybody who is listening or watching and didn't know. And I thought it was just so confusing because I guess like it's not usually fucking advertised on the outside like fundamentalist church, but
Mhm.
the one they show a lot is Faith Baptist Church. And so how would you know that you were going to a regular Baptist church? Or
It's kind of the issue, eh, Sarah? Like, I feel like Sarah
There's a
probably
lot
has
of
more
different sects of Baptist church too, because like the Southern Baptist Church Convention, they are completely separate. The group that I was part of was called the Atlantic Baptist Convention, and so it was like Eastern Canada, like the Atlantic provinces. So I think there's no regulatory body in the sense of like Catholicism where you're underneath the Pope. There's all kinds of different quote unquote Baptist churches that are like groups of churches, but they aren't all united together. And then there's like United Baptist, like there's
it's hard to say, like, and even sometimes you'll go to these churches. Sarah and I were just talking about that today. Sometimes you'll go to these churches and they'll be like, you know, from the outside they don't look weird or culty, they look affirming, they look like they'll accept most people. And then you go and you try, once you get further into the church, then you realize how not
well, it's not
supportive they really
popular
are.
to say we think being gay is a sin and that that transgender people are wrong. Like it's no one says that on their websites, but it's as soon as you get into the in group, you start realizing, oh, no one that's queer can serve in positions of power or positions of service. Like this is a problem. And it's almost like it would be better if a church was just clear about what they believed. That would be much more honest and much more compassionate to people because someone can make an informed decision on if they want to join or not
Yeah. And when
versus joining and then being like, oh shit, like
you're a newcomer at a church, most of the time you're pretty vulnerable and you are excited because most people at churches are quite welcoming. And you know what? Cults are also quite
love
welcoming. So
bombing.
Love bombing?
I love,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Love
And
bombing.
obviously that's going
Cookies.
to vary from church to church. Not all churches are culty. Not all, not all religions are cults, but there's a lot of overlap. And yeah, the love bombing is really enticing and really dangerous. And again, like Sarah said, not until you get closer to the inner circles do you realize how bad it can be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody told me that if you go to, it's usually mega churches that are doing the evangelicalism, right?
Yeah.
Doing the evangelicalism.
Oh, there's
Um,
many mega tiny house churches, you name it. There's
Yeah,
all
the house
kinds.
churches are
The house church movement's
would you
even weirder.
say though that mega churches are primarily doing the
I
evangelical flavor?
I'd say most
probably
mega churches, from what I can tell, tend to be evangelical, but
or
that
non-denominational like that flavor or Baptist, like
yeah,
it's
But
Protestants.
but Baptist
but
is everything
non-denominational, right? Kind
evangelical.
of
Well,
in quotes.
non-denominational is a denomination. It's just they call themselves that to be like, oh, we're like not like other churches, but they're like the
We're
cultiest
super
ones of all.
chill.
Yeah, they're
Well,
not.
yeah, I was told that if you look on the website and you go to like our values or their mission statement or whatever, if it says we believe in traditional family values and
Oh,
stuff, then that's a real quick like burp, red flag, turn around, go the other way.
But most
mhm.
don't even say that. Like most just are silent and then it doesn't come up until, someone's actually deep into the church and wanting to serve and wanting to be more involved that they're actually barred from those positions, which is
Yep.
unfortunate, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, how did you it's just so much to wrap my really, I feel like
It's a lot,
anybody's how did you go from being Baptist to evangelical?
Oh,
Sarah.
I was raised in the Baptist church, which was evangelical. So evangelical is essentially the meaning of evangelical, oftentimes used in Christianity, is that you proselytize. So you're out trying to get converts for Jesus. So
You're
you're trying to get people
evangelizing.
yeah, you're evangelizing. You're trying to, there's missionaries involved and you're trying to get people to convert to Christianity because Jesus is the only way and everyone will go to hell if you don't get them to ask Jesus into their heart, ask for forgiveness, etc. And
Mhm.
so I was in the Baptist church, which was evangelical. And then I ended up going to a church that was apostolic, charismatic called New Frontiers. And so apostolic, you know how like the apostle Paul, the apostle, like all these people that were authors in the Bible. So apostles are essentially like they were like essentially like disciples or early church leaders. And they believe that there are modern day apostles that have authority over groups of churches and kind of can tell the churches what to do. And charismatic in the sense that they believe that you can like, pray for someone to be raised from the grave or like, that you can speak in tongues, or that you can pray for forgiveness from autism or depression or being gay, just some
Oh,
Super
yeah.
cool stuff.
really good
Def
ideas, yeah.
Definitely things you should pray
Right.
for forgiveness for.
But I
Yeah.
will say, so this is a church that so we just had a group of friends that like went to this church just because we were in the church community
The
where we
music
live.
was better, like, it was, like, hipster and
That's
cool,
the thing. You would
and
go to
there were,
this
like,
church.
cute boys, etcetera, like
You guys, I was thinking sorry, I'm deep in the righteous gemstones right now. Like, I've oh my god. No, you guys, so I was in AA for, like, 4 years, and, it has very, like, religious overtones and, like, very biblical talk, and, like,
Yeah.
it's been crazy to me how I've been realizing this over the past, like, couple weeks. I'll just keep remembering things, and I'm like, "Oh my fucking god." Like,
Yeah.
I
Well,
remember going to a meeting to get a chip, and it was definitely at a mega church because there was, like, a fucking rock band and lasers, and so I'm watching Righteous Gemstones, I'm like, "What the fuck does lasers and smoke machines and
Jesus
hot
is coming down
tunes?"
from the ceiling,
Like,
like
I've
it is
never
wild.
there's not a lot of mega churches in Canada, but I have been to one. Sarah has been to probably
a
a
couple.
couple just around the world. I guess you've
The
traveled
church
more
that
than
I
I have.
worked in had a coffee shop / you could buy beer and wine there right after the service,
This is
and
the
they were, like
UK.
in the
Sarah worked in
UK,
the UK.
in the UK.
Different.
Whoa.
Things are different
So
there.
you'd think it was cool, but then women couldn't be leaders in the church, and then men had all the say within their marriage, so it wasn't cool.
Yeah.
And then they also told you that you couldn't leave, which
And they
seems
wanted her to
Yeah, you
tithe her
couldn't
student
leave,
loans.
yeah, and you definitely couldn't be gay.
Oh no.
which
Definitely not.
also all seems pretty uncool.
Yeah.
Um,
But so
so
we went to this church when we were younger in our hometown. It was small. It wasn't a mega church. We're from a smallish city. And it was cool and hip and the music was awesome, but like maybe the occasional person would start speaking in tongues over there and you were like, "Oh, that's something that's happening."
that's
Sarah
different.
Sarah was more desensitized to that than I was at the time, but I was like, "Oh, interesting." I kind of stopped going to that church after a couple years. We all at the beginning, me and her would only go to that church once in a while. We mostly went to Baptist church. But then Sarah kind of dove in
Well, then I
headfirst.
was going there, like, 6 times a week.
You
Yeah,
were
'cause
on
yeah,
fire for
for
I
God.
was
Christ.
on fire for God, yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's
Yeah.
how did you end up getting out of this situation where you were literally being fucking trafficked, it sounds like?
Well, what had happened was I had taken a year off between high school and college, and I had been accepted to college for the fall, and I told them that I wanted to leave in June, but there was this big conference, this big Bible conference happening in August, and the elders of the church were all, like, men in their 30s to 70s, and they sat me down, and they're like, "It's God's will that you stay till August, so you need to stay." And, like, so then I told my support system at home, and the church at home was like, "Oh, they really feel like God needs her to stay." So as soon as going to the media was threatened, that's when they all of a sudden were, like, cool with me leaving.
Yeah, someone from back
But
home had to be like, "No,
but
no,
it was
no."
really scary. As an 18-year-old, as a young woman, being told by all these men, like, "You can't do this." And I mean, like, I was already within this church where they were telling me, like, what shows I could watch, what books I was allowed to read, like, what I'm allowed to wear.
And
It's
your
scary.
personality, at least, was at that time of a people pleaser.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
back then, like, you did not wanna rock the boat.
No.
Do many women in the
Do
Well,
many
I
these
don't give a
these
shit.
churches
girls want to rock
I
the
think
boat?
I mean, this is, pretty much
This is
like,
also
there
in
is a
the
reason.
2000s, right? Like, it's a
Yeah,
different time.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
pre-Me Too, you know, pre a lot of things.
Pre a lot of things,
oh
pre-social
my
media, pretty much.
gosh. So was that the church you were in as well, Jessica?
So, um, by the time Sarah went to the UK, I so it was so I would have gone to college right away after high school, and yeah, that was a tough year for me. I was in and out of the church, and I would attend that church like maybe once every 2 months, but other than that, I wasn't going to church anymore because well, Sarah, I feel like you were kind of the reason that I was going in the first place. And there's kind of this whole long story about how I got out of Christianity. It's not very like dramatic, but by that time, it was like a slow peter out over like a 2-year period. And then by the time Sarah got home, I was like done. Like, I don't think I was ever an atheist, but I was like, I do not believe in any Christian doctrine. Yeah.
And I'm guessing you were, or I don't want to guess, actually. I guess I should ask you, Sarah. And were you feeling the same way at that point?
Not quite. No, I actually
I'm so glad I fucking didn't correct myself, or that I
so
corrected
Yeah,
myself and did not.
I came home from the UK, and I mean, then I went to college away and kind of like
she went to a party
backslid, as
college.
Christians would say, a party college, and like did the drugs, lost my virginity, all the things that we do in our late teens. And then I had this period where I was like 20 and 21, and I was like really trying hard to make it work because I wanted to, I mean, this was something it was my whole life, right? And I felt so much guilt for everything that had gone on. There was a lot of like re-traumatization for how the elders at the church that I went to in our hometown, how they handled some of the trauma I'd been through. So when I was away that year, I'd been sexually assaulted, which I think now looking back, I wasn't going to therapy. I was doing a lot of drugs. You know what I mean? I was like, and I was maybe being what they would call promiscuous, but I was just a little fucked up. I had PTSD, and then they told
Who
me
cares if you are being promiscuous? That's
they told me I needed to ask for forgiveness for being sexually assaulted because I was drunk at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, you're partially responsible, so you need to ask for forgiveness. And I did in that pastor's office. I did pray and ask for forgiveness. But I mean, I think that, and also like at the same time, simultaneously for like a period of 10 years, I was also wrestling with like a lot of the big theological issues, like God ordained genocide, discrimination against women, against queer people. And eventually I had cut out so many parts of my belief that I wasn't okay with. There was just like nothing left other than my belief in the resurrection. And I just, at a certain point, it just didn't seem like a likely thing to me. And I left Christianity.
And what about now, if you guys don't mind me asking? You obviously don't have to talk about anything you don't want to, but do you guys have what would you consider yourselves nowadays?
I think both of us would say we're agnostic, meaning we just have no clue and we don't,
Yeah.
it's not part of my life. Like, hey, look, before we started the podcast, I didn't ever think about this shit. Like, I had a lot of issues from my Christian days that I'm now dealing with because now I realize that I had to have issues. But like, I never thought about it. I didn't give a shit. Like, I just was like, there's something out there. I don't know. In my opinion, I don't think there's nothing. But
Right.
if people believe that there's nothing, then that's great. But like, I think that there's something. I definitely don't think it's the Christian God because that seems pretty silly and man-made. I think that it's
Like
something,
a white bearded man.
yeah, up in the sky. Like, I think that is whatever it is beyond our comprehension as humans. And
I don't think
if you've ever done psychedelics, you might agree with me.
Oh man, I did not have a good time on psychedelics.
No?
This
That's
is
too bad.
this is a dangerous neighborhood to go in
No.
unsupervised.
Oh,
I was like,
gotta,
"Oh,
yeah,
this is
maybe
fun," and then
supervised psychedelics.
like an hour later, I'm like, "All right, I'm really ready to be this. Can this be done now? I'm really ready for this to be done." No, I didn't have great experiences. I'm not that type of person who's like, unfortunately, I'd love to be able to be like, what a mind opening thing, but
Well,
I
I
don't think
think
that's
for us,
salvia, because then it's just like 5 minutes.
Sarah and
30.
salvia, like
Yeah.
that was because it was like basically legal for so many years. Just
It
to
was
you to get
legal in Canada when I did it.
I think I did that once in my 20s.
Just a
I've
hit and
never.
you're in a different world. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
for 5 minutes. But
Yeah.
I mean, Sarah and my mom spoke in tongues. I wasn't there. I was probably stripping at the time. Who is this? I love you.
I also spoke in tongues.
Barb is very funny. Yeah, can you tell us a little bit about that, Sarah?
Yes.
What was that like?
Well, I was going to a United Pentecostal, so like long hair,
Oh,
long
this is
skirts youth group.
you
What
gotta
the
back
fuck?
up
Hold
because
on.
Sarah
No.
voluntarily went to a Pentecostal church on her own because she just wanted to feel more Jesus.
Wait, hold on. We're Baptist, we're Evangelical, we're Pentecostal. What the fuck is the difference though, you guys? That's what
Oh.
it's just like
Well, the
and that's
United
the thing. It's
Pentecostals think
minute differences, right? It's like, oh, well, they believe in the doctrine of Ham. Is that a thing? Because I feel like I read that
The
somewhere.
doctrine of Ham? I don't know. I'd have to talk to a theologian, but I think the thing is that within Protestantism, especially because it's like Catholicism and Protestantism, there's so many offshoots with all their specific doctrines. But at the end of the day, whether they want to believe it or not, they all believe in the fucking same thing. It's
yeah,
just
but
a
no,
little
United Pentecostal
tweakier.
is its own creature. They
Okay.
are against the Trinity. They believe in the oneness of God. They don't believe in the doctrine of the Trinity. They think the rest of Christianity is wrong. And they think you're not saved by God unless you speak in tongues as a sign of that saving. And so I was going to this youth group and I was feeling really pressured to speak in tongues. So I went to so I left the Pentecostal church and I called my elder from the New Frontiers church and I was crying on the phone and I wasn't sure. And then I drove and ended up in the parking lot of a different Pentecostal church, which was not United Pentecostal. And then I just went in. They were doing something and I just randomly went in. It was like, oh, hey, I just felt like God wanted me to go here. And then I spoke in tongues there. I don't know.
I
You
just
are
gotta say,
addicted.
I was a hot mess.
I learned this one on the
Yeah.
podcast one day, like one of our episodes. I can't even remember which one, and I'm still laughing about it. This
I
is in
know.
high school,
I was
and
I was like 16. Like
and
I
Sarah and I were talking all the time. We were best friends, and I had
Yeah.
did not know this.
No.
I mean, when does that come up in conversation naturally, though, right?
I jumped all over the map. When I was in the UK, I said the Shahada. At one point, I was convinced Islam was the true thing. Like I was on a whole journey.
You've been a searcher,
I've been
Sarah.
a seeker.
You know,
and
Yeah, Sarah's
I,
I
quite
res-
landed
I
about 12
respect
years
that.
ago. Yeah.
Sarah's quite the seeker. She is. Yeah.
I'm just trying to catch up with a little bit of the chat right now. Kat's here. Kat's awesome. Hi, Kat. Kat says, so much of the Christian view of heaven and hell came from fan fiction work. Paradise Lost. Is Paradise Lost that epic?
I have no idea.
No idea.
Kat, could you say if that was that like epic that had heaven and hell and stuff? Brian said, when I was little, I was told the story of Noah's Ark and the Greek gods. One was real, one was not, but both didn't pass muster for me. Yeah, I mean, it's
Respect. Yeah.
like
Paradise Lost. It's an epic poem. Yeah, it's in the 17th century. I
Oh,
would like
I
to
would
read
read
that.
that.
That's interesting. I mean,
that
the
makes me feel really smart. I'm not gonna
like
lie.
deconstructing the idea of heaven and hell is something we haven't quite done yet on the podcast.
No, we haven't.
But there is I do want to deconstruct the idea of hell because you go into these religions and it's just blind faith, but then when you actually start looking into like where did hell come from, maybe it was from a 17th century poem that some guy wrote once, and then now millions of people believe in that. Like,
Well, it's not in the Bible as far as I know. Like,
There
I
are
mean,
things that are
Satan gets
alluded to, like the
touched
lake of
on or whatever.
fire.
yeah, but it's
And
not
it's
like this is hell and this is what happens in hell, but it is there's some imagery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth. Went to Pentecostal
Alicia
church.
said, "Oh, one of you read, please."
Alicia says, I can read too. It's crazy.
Yeah, get in
I
there.
went to Pentecostal church because my friend's family ran it. Her father ended up cheating on his wife with his sister-in-law, the leader's wife, and they didn't believe in dinosaurs.
Well, okay.
You know what? I think the didn't believe in dinosaurs is the crazier part.
Wait, we actually have done a couple episodes. We did one on evolution versus creationism,
and
then
one on dinosaurs.
and then Sarah did one on just like dinosaurs. And there's people
She's
that
like, "I
think
just
that
feel like
dinosaurs
I'm
and
into it."
man were like coexisting together. And then some people that don't believe in dinosaurs at all. There's lots of different beliefs about
People
dinosaurs.
down in the States, there's like museums, the Creation Science Museum, where they have dinosaurs and humans walking together. And spoiler alert, all of their science is based on Genesis.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you guys have basically read Genesis because I do a segment called Ash Learns the Bible.
I love that for you.
I love that
Thank
for you
you.
too.
I love it so much. For me, I'm like, this is the craziest fucking book I've ever read. It's a wild ass ride, dude.
It is a
Every time I'm like, oh my God, tell me more.
we have
Like,
we have a segment on our
Oh my
show called
God,
Story
there's
Time
so
with
much.
Sarah.
Yeah.
And so on Story Time with Sarah, Sarah tells me of just a random Bible story. And so this is how I've come to learn the Bible. And every
Wow.
story she tells on the podcast is unhinged. It's
But your favorite is Lot and his daughters, right? Do you know
yeah,
this one?
have you heard Lot and his daughters? That's the best
what book
story.
is it? What book is it?
Genesis.
Yeah, it's one of
Oh,
the
well,
it's
then I
Old Testament.
definitely I should know. Well, I mean, the Old Testament's pretty big, man.
It
No,
is
no, it's in
Lot and his daughters. I can't
yeah,
remember.
chapter
Do they?
19 of the book of Genesis.
chapter 19. So maybe
Do
you're
you-
not there yet.
What?
No, I'm there. I'm there.
Sarah, would
I
you like
mean,
to just give an overview
Do you want
of
me
what?
to
Yeah.
just give you the Cole's notes?
yeah.
So essentially, like, they are leaving Sodom and Gomorrah because they're like the only righteous ones, Lot and his family. And then his wife looks back, she turns to salt. It's just him and the daughters, and they're like, fuck, no one else can get us pregnant. So then they get him drunk and rape him 2 nights in a row, unfortunately, and then they have his babies.
The word of our Lord.
Yeah.
Hold on. His daughters rape him.
Yeah, because they get him drunk and he's passed
I
out. And then
am fucking upset
Genesis 19, man.
with my friend Michelle for leaving that out, because I heard about Sodom and Gomorrah. I heard about how everybody was banging down the door to try to ass rape the angels. Can somebody tell me in the chat what I am or am? You know what? I should look it up. I don't know what I'm allowed to say on YouTube. But they were like, and wasn't Lot like, oh, you can have my daughters? And they were like, no, we want the angels.
that was the Levi and his concubine, and that's in Judges, in the book of Judges.
Sarah knows
But
a
in Sodom, but in Sodom and Gomorrah, the angels come down and everybody wants to rape them, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of the times that people want to rape whoever.
There's a rape and genocide
They're just
are
like,
big in the Bible, and smiting.
yeah,
A lot of smiting.
Yeah.
I heard though that
and
like it
keeping
gets a little bit.
virgins and then just selling them to men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's chill.
And then
haven't
burning them sometimes, just killing people.
Yeah,
A lot
like
of that.
human
So-
sacrifice.
so much sacrifice and murder. It is wild. Yeah, I've been on quite the ride learning about it.
I don't think the Bible meets YouTube's guidelines. Just gonna say that.
Yeah.
Doesn't
That's
meet
true.
what guidelines?
YouTube's guidelines.
Oh, right. It's like this content is too spicy to handle. My favorite story that inspired me to want to learn more about the Bible was, I think it's King Solomon, where the two ladies are like, "Hey, this is my baby," and the other one's like, "No, it's my baby." And then I think King Solomon, is that right? Is that who it is?
Yeah.
He's like, well, we'll do this. We'll cut the baby in half, and then you guys can, like, both have some of the baby. And one lady's like, fuck yeah, let's do this. And then the other lady's like, no, don't kill the baby. And then the
So
king's like,
wise.
dude, that's what a real mom would say.
And then
That's what's
everybody
up.
was like, this is the smartest guy ever that
Like,
he thought of this.
He knows
He's
what's up.
Super fucking wise.
Just wow, give him a medal right now. Brian, I know that I'm not monetized yet, so it doesn't matter, but I would like to get monetized one day. And then when I am, I'd like to,
I think
like follow the rules. So I'm trying to
one
learn
of the
them now.
rules, like you said, the first 4 minutes, not swearing. Definitely can't say rape. Definitely can't talk about smoking weed, which we've already done.
Dang
You
it.
talk
No
about
talk
smoking
about
weed on
drugs.
YouTube?
Yeah,
Are you
no.
for real?
What?
To beat when you're monetized.
Oh, why?
Because YouTube is puritanical as fuck.
No, that's why I love podcasting. It's the Wild West over there. I'm like, cunt, fuck, ass raping angels.
Yeah.
I smoked so much weed, and like nobody cares on
Yeah.
podcasting.
No, I'm
No.
just saying, this is what I've heard from
Yeah.
but it's also very vague from what I understand, that like sometimes you'll just get demonetized and you don't know why, and they won't tell you why, and you just that's it.
Wild
Yeah.
game. So, did you ever speak in tongues, Jessica, or did you see people
Okay, no,
getting
fuck that, no. But
No.
I will say that I have seen it, and every single time I saw it, it made me feel so deeply uncomfortable, and it
What?
Oh,
Weird.
have you ever seen someone speaking in
No,
tongues?
I'm joking. Sorry, I was
Oh.
being very sarcastic. I think that would make me feel weird too.
I was like, "What the fuck, man?" Yeah.
Like I saw Bo Rat, okay? You know?
It's a
And I mean I've seen documentaries, so
yeah, it's like it's deeply disturbing because it's unnatural behavior from a human being, and you're like, "Oh, I feel like you need help." Like, and I always hated it. It's sent just my instincts into overdrive. So I never I don't think I would have gotten to a point that I ever would have done it. Now I do just with my experiences, but if I had I don't know, if I was raised in a much more Christian household, like I mean, I don't doubt that I would have done it for attention because I love attention.
oh, me
So
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
so the thing is that sometimes people just do it for attention. I've
Or
would
you
probably
do it if they say that they're not gonna drive you back to the church, from the hillside until you speak in tongues.
Okay, you got it. What? What the fuck are you
No,
talking about?
the church that I was working in the United Kingdom, they had a practice where sometimes they would take young adults into the middle of the country, into the middle of nowhere, and they, like, wouldn't drive them back until everyone had spoken in tongues. Or
What?
they, like, wouldn't let you leave the room until you'd been slain in the spirit. Do you know what that means? Like,
Oh, I
God makes you pass out.
like fall to the ground.
So you basically people are just pretending because God's not really like
Oh, I definitely pretended to be slain in the spirit because I was gonna have a panic attack. I was like, "Get out of my personal bubble."
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
you
Oh
can
my
And
only
you're
be yelled at
18,
in
that would have
god.
been a
for so
scary
many minutes.
experience. Like, as a someone in their 30s now, like I don't care about anything, but as an 18-year-old, you just do what people say because you do what the adults say because the adults know what's going on. Or
Well,
so you think.
especially when they say that we're always right even when we're wrong. The adults were
And
right. So Puff Groomer some
I've
uh
seen I've seen
some
snake
I
handlers.
haven't seen snake handlers, but I have heard because Jesus does talk about how with the Holy Spirit people will charm snakes.
Oh, stop, Sarah. Oh, I always learn something new with what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, no, Puff
What?
Groomer saw snake handlers and noped right the fuck out of there.
Yeah,
Probably good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good choice.
So that would be a probably most likely if you're seeing snake handlers and people speaking in tongues, you might be in a charismatic Pentecostal church. Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. And then so Baptists and
A lot of
evangelicals
Baptists are
also
cessationists.
What?
what's that? What's that?
Cessationists are people that believe that, like, after the 1st century, there was no longer, like, the spiritual gifts, like speaking in tongues, interpretation, prophecy,
Oh,
miracles. So
uh-huh.
Baptists typically are just like, "No, that all stopped."
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean,
I guess I
so
can get on
but
board with that.
and then do I have this right that Baptists also don't baptize babies? They baptize adults?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We don't confirm, we dedicate babies without water. So we'll be like, "I'm dedicating this baby to Jesus," but then you gotta make your own choice to get baptized. I
I
got
mean, it's
baptized
just
when I was
splitting
7. I
hairs.
made a
It's
very
like,
informed
I was
choice.
gonna say, I feel like
right.
they're kind of making the choice when you're dedicated to Jesus.
Yeah. I would again, but then the Catholics they baptize the babies, but then you still get confirmed into the Catholic Church later. So it's
Mass
kind of just the
hysteria is right.
reversal. Like it's either you get baptized first and then confirmed, or confirmed first and then baptized. Like doesn't fucking matter.
It
In the
it
Bible, babies weren't baptized, Jess.
it is splitting hairs, very much so. Mass hysteria, says Kat. Groupthink, says Alicia. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
uh
Yeah.
And the
definitely.
power of groupthink, like, the power that has on people, like, I've seen full rooms of people when there's a pastor being like, "Holy Spirit." I've seen full rooms of people just fall down. Like, it's the craziest shit.
I have not seen that. Sarah has the craziest experiences, and
Yeah.
that's
Well, you
really
can't go to church 6 days a week for a long time and not get some stories, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
It's true.
it's true.
Yeah.
Oh, what's the post-trib, pre-trib
Oh,
debate?
yes, if we're gonna be taken up, so
So this
post-tribulation,
so this is the book of Revelation and the rapture that they're referring to.
the end times.
The end times. So
Well, all the
we've done
Christians
a whole episode on the book of Revelation if anyone is interested in hearing our take on it, which is that we think it's dumb,
and we
basically.
did a whole episode on the Left Behind movies. I don't know if you've heard of them. It's with Kirk Cameron, came out in, like, the early 2000s.
Kirk
It was a book
Cameron.
series about the end times. Very evangelical.
Yeah.
I love Kirk Cameron. I mean, what?
What?
No, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm
Okay.
very fucking deadpan. Like I'm very
I know.
like, what's the
We're
word?
also very
I'm very
sarcastic.
sarcastic, but like I'm super deadpan, and so sometimes when people don't know me, they're like, "Well,
You love
hot
him.
take."
He
Okay,
is out of his fucking mind.
I know.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one, but I am not looking forward to watching, but I am looking forward to reviewing and digging into the Sound of Freedom and the whole Tim Ballard Operation Underground Railroad fucking. And then I look away for like 5 seconds, and every time the Mormons are getting up to something wild. Did you know they started the Boy Scouts? Like basically.
I didn't watch the Boy Scout documentary because I don't think I could handle it.
Oh, I
Like,
didn't watch it either. I just
Oh,
like I
wow.
go down weird ass rabbit holes.
yeah. My mental health, like the podcast kind of can take a toll on the mental health, as I'm sure you know. So sometimes I'm like, okay, if it has nothing to do with specifically Christianity, I don't think I can watch it right now. But yes, I did not know it was basically formed by Mormons, but that does not sound surprising to me.
Yeah, it was like I guess formed in the UK or something, but then they came over here and the Mormon church was like, fuck yeah, like we're in on that. We're gonna sponsor that shit.
Sounds about right.
And I was like, and then the Mormon church kicked Tim Ballard out for being a sexual abuser himself. Do you guys know about this stuff? Sorry, we just we talked about movies, and then
I've
my mind goes to Sound of Freedom.
I've heard of the Sound of Freedom. I will never watch it because I just can't subject myself to it. I know of it, and I know it's basically just an evangelical propaganda machine, just like the Left Behind movies or whatever. So I just take but then it's like all the conservatives kind of glommed onto it, and they're like child sex trafficking, and it's a very, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's good because I am very interested in learning about and shedding light on spiritual abuse.
Love it.
But because it's good because I don't have firsthand experience. So I can really keep like a distance from it in a way that I can't with stories that feel more personal to me, you know. So it's like
Right.
I
When it hits
understand.
close to home, like, if you're consuming too much of content like that, I just find, like, there was one point this fall where I, 'cause I'll hyper focus on a topic that's interesting, and I just read a ton of stuff about, like, sexual abuse within the church and sexism, and then I was very sad for a few weeks because I was just like,
Yeah.
"Yeah, this is not good." It's good to
Yeah.
have boundaries and to be aware of how that's, like, taking a toll on your mental health.
Like just read one book on sexual abuse and then wait a
And not
little while.
3 in 1 week.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Sarah was like, "I think I burnt myself out." And I was like, "Yeah, I've gone down the rabbit hole a few times and you just got to pull yourself back." Like I'm really, really obsessed with cults. And like I have listened to your podcast where it's like you mentioned Nexium and I'm like, "Oh my God." And like I've gone down the Nexium rabbit hole. I've gone down the FLDS rabbit hole. And those things were easier to do before I started the podcast because now I have to go out down all these other rabbit holes and I'm like, I can't handle more cult stuff. But I remember going down the Nexium rabbit hole. I've done it like 4 or 5 times. And like Scientology and just like you got to pull yourself out of that hole sometimes.
Yeah.
That hyper focus because you're like, oh my God, everybody's a Scientologist. Like that's what you start thinking.
Well, I couldn't after I watched Phoenix Rising on HBO.
Oh my God.
You watched
That
it
was
too?
so good, yes.
Okay, so that story hits more close to home for me than like any spiritual abuse story. And like after I watched that documentary, I could not like cover any SA cases for I don't know, 6 months to a year. I was just like, nope, don't need to go there right now.
It was
So
very heavy.
yeah, I think it's so important when you are a content creator or just a consumer of like heavy kind of shit like we tend to make. It's so important to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health. And like I definitely have a list of sitcoms that I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
there's my little palate cleanser. I'm gonna watch that now.
I know, same.
For the
I think
100th
the same.
time, The Office.
Oh yeah, The Office. I watch American Dad and like Bob's Burger. I'm really into animated dumb shows, and that is just the best palate cleanser. And
Family
sometimes
Guy?
so I haven't watched Family Guy in a long time, but I would. I would not be against it. I just think American Dad is better, and I will die on that hill forever. But it's
That
just
is the hill
whatever personal.
high on.
I just personal preference.
Oh, you guys, you have some comments coming in. Jessica.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
don't you guys can read them out loud. I didn't want to be a reading hog.
Oh, I just can't. I can only see one at a time, and I don't know why. Maybe I'm.
Oh, yeah, it's when because I pull it up on
Oh,
the
here they are.
screen.
Oh, there. Oh my gosh, there's so many. I only see the ones that come up on the screen. Okay. Oh wow. Hi everyone.
Where are the comments? Oh, geez, there are lots.
I know. There's so many, Sarah.
Yeah, Alicia said, same Jessica.
Oh, Kat Matajet said it's stand-up comedy for me, and I want to say same.
Oh, do you guys like Mike Birbiglia?
Love him. Oh,
He just
so
had a new
good.
special come out on
I heard-
Netflix.
I need to watch it. It's
Yeah.
on it's the next one. Pete Holmes has a great Netflix comedy special as well. He just came out with it. I told Sarah to watch it because he talks a little bit about Christianity, but he's
Oh,
so
yeah, you
fucking
sent me that thing
funny.
too.
He grew up like in the evangelical space, but like isn't anymore. But he's fucking hilarious. And so yeah, Mike Birbiglia is really good too. He's very lots of emotions with him.
He's like, and yeah, he's not like a mean comedian. And there are a lot of funny, meanish ones, you know, but I like that when people can be nice too.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, pure.
But Alicia says mental health and wellness, rinse and repeat, along with Colton True Crime. And I agree.
I feel like that's like the cycle of my life for sure.
Yeah.
Jessica.
I call it guarding my mind or guarding my heart when I choose my consumption carefully. That's actually really good because that's kind of a Christian phrase.
I was
guarding
like,
your heart.
Guarding my heart.
Yeah, I like that. I would
that
like to
one.
kind of like recycle that phrase and use it for my own means. I like that. So maybe I'll start doing
Yeah, because you know, it was funny because I've really steeped myself in trying to learn about Christianity and the differences between Christian fundamentalism and evangelicalism and Christian nationalism and fucking Baptists and just all that.
It
You
was
know,
all the churches I went to.
it's so much. It is so much. And what was I gonna say? Shit. I've been like, you know, hearing a lot of all these like Christian phrases, and then sometimes I'll find myself like about to use them, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah,
Listen,
every cult has
guard
their
your
own
heart.
language.
Guard your heart.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
The
Somebody
Christian
asked you, Sarah.
Zionism.
Sarah's wondering. Someone's wondering. Harriet Atkinson says, "Where did you live in the UK, Sarah?"
I lived in Eastbourne, which is like 20 minutes from Brighton, like in between Brighton and Hastings, South Coast, about an hour from London.
Yeah, I liked how you said coast.
Yeah, coast.
Coast.
Yeah, we're Canadian. You know that though, right?
Yeah. Well, earlier, Sarah, you said
Hey.
you were buying a new couch, and you said you were buying a new coach, and I was like,
Yeah, I just have a weird accent. That's all me.
So I am doing it's pretty ridiculous. Fuck, and I never text my boyfriend to tell him what I needed. I'm doing a cooking segment in 45 minutes. It's this new thing that I've started to do where I don't know how to cook, so I'm learning how. And I got to figure out what I'm cooking and get it and
What kind of food do you like? I love cooking. I cook all of
I
our
hate
meals.
I hate cooking. I don't know how to do it. So
It takes time. It
it,
does. And I've been cooking
I'm
pretty
learning.
I gotta say, I've been cooking pretty consistently for at least 10 years, and I'm always learning. But it's like you got to know the basics, um, and have patience. And then you can also see it. Also, once you kind of get your
I'm
groove,
all,
it's like it's quite a meditative process.
yeah. Well, I've been using it kind of as a reason to just like interact with the viewers because they're so fucking cool. All the viewers who have been here today watching us and chatting with us. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so
I mean,
fun.
we like literally
Yeah.
we could get into I feel like we didn't even really touch on anything specifically because it's such a huge fucking topic. But everything that we did touch on and so much more is on your podcast.
Hmm.
So, one more time, tell the people where they can find it and on the socials and all that stuff.
So the
I'm gonna
podcast.
try this time.
Oh
I'm gonna see
God.
if I get
Okay.
it right, okay?
Oh
So
God.
you can find us at Instagram at Heaven in a Miniskirt. Yeah.
That's
Or you
right.
can find us at heaveninaminiskirt.com.
Yes. We are also on Twitter or X, Miniskirt Pod, but we don't use it a
Oh,
ton.
fuck X
And
and Elon Musk.
yeah, I just really hate Elon so much. And
Mm.
we are also on TikTok at Heaven in a Miniskirt. But again, we're millennials and we really suck at TikTok. So, but we do
Dude,
Yeah,
try.
it's
okay,
very
is that a
funny.
millennial thing?
I
Is
just,
it kind of
I,
our generation? That's not good.
we just really like, I don't know. We
I'd
like
like to blame
memes.
it.
I like a meme.
I love a
I
meme.
love a meme. And I really think that's a
Yeah.
millennial thing.
A
And that's,
GIF? Do we love a
I
GIF?
love a GIF.
I love putting a GIF on a story.
Love a
We
GIF.
love that. We love a story with a
Yeah,
GIF.
I mean, but no, the TikTok,
Thank you, Alicia. If you're gonna
it's too much.
subscribe to us.
Yeah.
And our audio is on YouTube now, which is just youtube.com/at heaven in a miniskirt. Most of our stuff is just heaven in a miniskirt because our podcast title is really long, so we can't use it usually.
There's the you guys, I just put the
Oh,
link
thank you.
Thank
in
you.
the yeah, because I so silly. I'm like
Yeah,
the
so
only
that's
one who
our
can do it. And I'm putting your website too.
yes.
One sec. I can put the clickable link. And then you guys, I will also put this information in the show notes. So make sure to subscribe to
you.
their podcast. Make sure to subscribe to my podcast. That's so fucked up. I talk about Christianity and shark attacks and
So
I don't
really
know.
good mix
Thanks.
of
I listened to
things.
that one.
Like you guys, I talk about the most random shit. Like it's just like literally whatever like piques my interest and makes me go, that is so fucked up. Like that's actually why I titled the show what I did, because I wanted it to stay very open to just anything that encouraged me to go, that's really fucked up.
I love
Like
that.
right now we're doing a season of That's So Fucked Up Presents. It's like my little mini series where we focus on one topic for a month, and it's called Fairy Tale Fuckery. We're talking about the origins of fairy tales and Disney princesses and
Mm.
Disney scandals. And
I love that.
next month we're talking about fucking 90s crimes. So
I
Tanya
messaged you to
Harding.
say I started listening to your podcast after you had messaged us, and I was like, "This is fucking great." So
you.
I quite like it, and it is nice to be able for you to have all these different subjects to pull from. You don't have to just only talk about Christianity. So we've kind of backed ourselves into a corner a little bit, so that's okay.
You know what? Live your life. Talk about whatever the fuck you want.
But there's enough that we
You
could
guys-
talk about it for eternity. There's so
True.
much,
Oh my
so
God,
much to unpack there with Christianity.
But also take care of your mental health,
yes,
make
you
sure to
too,
do that.
everybody. Everyone
Yeah.
that's
Thank you. No,
listening.
everybody.
Yeah.
Well, I love our chat because basically everybody in here everybody's so supportive. Like a lot of the same people come to the same streams, and we're so excited to have more people joining us too. But everybody's just so nice, and
Yeah,
It's a good
I've been really
time.
enjoying going through this chat. We've never done a live show, so it's really fun. So
You
thank
guys should
for-
do a live show.
We're
It
gonna have
is
to
fun.
now.
Yeah.
Do it.
You got to. Now you know. Jesus actually put it on my heart to
Jesus
let
Christ.
you guys know that it is God's will
It is good.
to have you live. Yeah.
Wow.
No.
And we can't
Wow.
leave until we agree to it.
Yeah.
You know what? Listen, I'll let you go. I'm not gonna, I'm not
Enjoy
gonna
cooking.
I have to go
Yeah.
figure out how the fuck to cook. So if you guys are watching and you want to see me throw on my house dress, because I wear a house dress and a petticoat, I got pearls today. It's gonna be really good
So nice
stuff.
with cookies.
Well, I don't know what I'm gonna cook. I gotta go figure it out, you guys. So Jess and Sarah, please stay here for a second so that I can say bye to you and everybody here. You guys are the best. Love y'all. I'll be live again in 38 minutes because I did a weird scheduling thing for myself this week. And I have an apron with pockets. So be there, be
And
square, you
ruffles.
guys. Oh,
Okay.
yeah, no, those are there too. Bye, guys. Make sure to
Bye.
subscribe, like,
Bye.
rate, review, all that.
Bye-bye.